Welcome, Commanders. My name is Commander Hobbs, and this is my first Flight Assist Off training video. I've been flying Flight Assist Off for almost 2 years now. It's all I fly. I don't use Flight Assist on in Elite Dangerous at all. There's actually quite a few of us in the galaxy. You might be surprised. A lot of them are lone wolves, but some of us have banded together into a group called Newton's Gambit, which exists to provide education to the community and to answer questions that anyone might have about flying with Flight Assist Off. We actually take apprentices in, so if you're interested, check out the link below the video. Anyway, this video is about Proficiency 1. So when I'm talking about proficiency levels, I'm really just referring to 5 different levels inside of my head that I divide up training for a beginner. So level 1 through 5, proficiency 1 through 5, number 1 being the entry point, number 5 being the exit point, going into intermediate training. So today's exercises will be only on level 1 or proficiency 1. Later I'll upload some videos for the other proficiencies. So there are a couple things that you need to know going into this. The first 2 being key concepts to always have loaded into your mind when you're flying Flight Assist Off, and the third is actually a skill that you should have down at least to some extent before you start these exercises I'm about to show you. The first 2 are the concepts I was mentioning. Use minimal input rather than overcorrecting. So you never want to overcorrect when you're in Flight Assist Off. It'll create this chaotic state in your ship and your mind. And number 2, be aware of your speed and know your vector at all times. Those 2 are critical concepts to have preloaded in your mind before you launch at any given time with Flight Assist Off. The third, which was a skill, I usually call it quiet your ship. It's the ability to turn Flight Assist off, create a chaotic state in your ship, so that's pitch, roll, etc., and then recover from that. That's a critical skill that you should at least have a little bit of experience with before entering these exercises. If you need more help on that, I'm going to link to some videos below that were done by some wonderful commanders that I actually learned from some of them. And I'll link those in the description below. Or I can upload a video, let me know. Okay, let's get started. So the first set of exercises have to do with tethering, and I'll explain a little bit about that in a second. But basically you're going to want to find an orbit station, get it at a stock Sidewinder, and undock and go to the ring.
Docking clamps retracted. Observe the queuing system. Exiting the station.
Just a quick note on ships. I do recommend using a stock Sidewinder because it's a good balance for learning. It costs nothing if you get into trouble, and it's a known value. So that means we're all on the same page as far as acceleration goes, maneuverability. And by the way, as a note on that, I have 4 pips to engines here. So if you're using a stock Sidewinder, 4 pips to engines, and you're going to be on the same page as I am. You can technically do these exercises in any ship except maybe for one of the bonus exercises later in the video, as you'll see, because it requires a ship that's a little bit smaller. But anyway, get into position here next to the ring and we'll begin. So the goal of a tethering exercise is to pretend like the nose of your ship is tethered with a cord to something, a feature, an identifiable feature on a spinning object. So in front of me you can see the ring. The ring is spinning, as you can see the background galaxy going. We're actually spinning, and we're matching the ring movement. We've picked out a feature. We're going to pick out this X here to be our feature, and we're going to keep it in the same position, effectively rotating with the ring. So just a quick note. During this, you're going to be doing a lot of corrections to get back into position, back into position, back into position. That is normal. That's what this exercise is all about. I use this exercise because it checks for overcorrection, and because if there is overcorrection, it will create a sort of short circuit in the brain that allows you to only focus on one point, and it'll fix that overcorrection eventually. So focusing on this point in front of us is much easier to do than what we're actually doing. What we're actually doing is traveling around a perfectly circular ring as close to, we're creating as close to a circular path as possible, and we're not facing towards the vector we're going at all. I mean, we're going up, right? So in that vein, it's also important to try the other way, as in we're going up now, and with any of these tethering exercises, you should do a 180 and do it the other way. It's easy to switch, and you'll get experience with the opposite side of the coin. One last note on this exercise: if you're using TrackIR or another head tracking software, please incorporate it into your training. It's so important. Oftentimes what we'll see is when people look to a certain direction, they lose focus. And also there are a lot of times when you can get a better idea of your vector, as here. So you can see our exhaust fumes there, by looking up or looking down or looking to the left or right. So yeah. The second station tethering exercise is just like the first one, except for that we're going to go on to a different part of the station. So we are going to go to the axis of the station, the part by which it revolves. So getting close, you're going to need to use your lights, most likely, because it's probably going to be dark in this area. Find a feature, lock onto it, and tether to it. You're going to notice that your speed is going to be reduced from what it was before when we were on the outer ring. That's because we're not doing that large of a circle. Our diameter has constricted our circle that we're doing. And don't be afraid with this one to really play with distance. Move in. Move in as close as you can if you want. Lock the feature again and tether again. So notice how your speed changes. It lowers as you go in and increases as you go out. Notice how your maneuverability changes when that happens. The third station tethering exercise is on yet another piece of the station, that being the edge of the ring. When you set up this tether, you might notice that it's a little bit more volatile than the other tethers. That's because you're using a vertical thrust to maintain it instead of your primary thruster. And most players have joysticks that have vertical thrusters that have digital inputs rather than analog inputs. So mine, in X52 Pro, I have digital inputs rather than analog, which means that when I go up or down, it is 100% or 0%. I don't get a choice of 20% or 10%. There's no analog there. So that's not the important part here. The important part is that you just keep the feature in view and you work on your consistency. Welcome to the first bonus of this video, and that is the bonus for station tethering. So if you're lucky enough to be at a station that has these strange solar panels sticking out of it that make strange noises when you approach them, notice that the solar panels are not at 90 degrees to the station axis. That's perfect for tethering because it makes it more difficult. So try to lock into a spot and try to tether onto it. And while you're at it, play with the geometry. Try to fit your ship into those weird places that you probably shouldn't be going. Always remember that any of these exercises can be done at any time during your flight career. And in fact, a lot of them are really good to revisit because if you get a new ship, or if you engineer your drives to be quite different than they were before, it's a really nice thing to be able to come out and do some of these exercises, and some of them are kind of fun. Welcome to our first exercise using asteroids. So what I need you to do is find a nice gas giant with a ring around it, target the gas giant, and drop out somewhere close to the middle of the ring. So not on the edges, just somewhere close to the middle. It doesn't need to be near a resource extraction site. In fact, it might be better if it's not. But after you do that, go ahead and position yourself in the center of the ring. So center meaning thickness, right? So you kind of want to be in the middle. At that point, go ahead and come to a full stop and position yourself so that the gas giant is targeted and in the center of your display. The asteroid ring should be left to right. Okay? You're going to keep this position throughout the exercise. We're going to boost in a second, and then we're going to let go of the primary thruster. And the main goal is going to be to use our strafes, lateral and vertical, to navigate the field. Okay, so at this point, there's no thrust applied on the primary thruster at all. My throttle is completely zeroed out. I'm only using positional thrusters to navigate the field. You'll notice as you do this more, if you do this for a good 10 minutes, let's say, you'll notice your speed changing quite a bit as you navigate through the field. And that's because your vector speed is changing. So you're changing your vector, you're going slightly to the right, you're going slightly to the left, or slightly up and down. That is altering your speed because those thrusters apply to that vector. There's three main reasons that this exercise is important. Number one is that it provides a good exercise for isolation of your positional thrusters. So you're not using your main thruster, you're only using your positional thrusters, your lateral, vertical. Second is that it's a really good example of how you can alter your speed, your vectored speed, without using your main thrusters. So it gives you kind of a good example of a real world situation where you might see that. And the third, it gives great situational awareness. You're navigating an asteroid field and you need to know where the asteroids are. You need to know what the shape of your ship is and what your vector is. Our second exercise in the field is exactly the same as the first one with one difference. Well, actually two differences. The first difference is that your nose is going to be either pointed to the left or the right, not facing the way you're going, and you're going to keep it there. The second difference is that you can use your primary thrusters for this exercise. So you can use all your thrusters. You're going to navigate the field by looking out your window. And the important part is to keep your nose to either the left or the right. The pitch of your craft, the attitude I don't care about it that much. All I really care about is that you are not pointed the way you are going. And one of the things this does is it forces the mind to divorce itself from the idea that what's in front of you is the direction that you're going. In flight assist off, most of the time, what's in front of you is not your vector. So this exercise serves to give you a little bit of that experience and to really boot up the mind into that headspace. Welcome to the final bonus of our video and the final exercise of our video. You'll notice that we're doing exactly as before, except for one thing. Our nose is pointed straight down. You have complete control over all of your thrusters in this exercise. You can use your primary thrusters to go up and down in the field, by the way. That is the translated vector, as will happen when you execute those thrusters. Keep the planet in view. Have fun with it. Sidewinder is perfect for this because of the open canopy. All of the exercises that I've shown you today have a similar theme. They are designed to get your brain into a state where it detaches itself from the idea that you are going the direction that you're pointed. You are in fact not going the direction you're pointed in Elite Dangerous with Flight Assist Off. And once you get that to a natural state in your mind, everything will connect. You'll notice that your piloting skills with Flight Assist Off will increase. You'll be able to land a lot faster. You'll be able to battle a lot more efficiently. And you'll just have a lot better time when you're in Flight Assist Off. It will come more naturally to you. You won't be thinking about it as much as you would. I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm excited about making the second proficiency video. So I will see you soon. Stay safe out there.